Miss Greenwich class. This is Mrs. Martin, your librarian, and I'm going to be talking to you about sources for your 6 degrees project. So as your librarian, my job is to work with different classes and help students gather the information they need to answer a research question or to complete a research essay or PowerPoint project like you're doing today. So I wanted to show you the database sources for this project and also talk about some Google tips. So we're going to start on the Oak Ridge page, which will take you right here. There's a link which will take you to the library. And then we are going to click Reference Desk Databases here. So I would like you to try the Science in Context database for this project. It is not, okay, you might get this on your Chromebooks. So the password is Trojans, lowercase. So it's actually good that this happened to me. Okay, so we're in. So I was just saying this is not a website, and you can see they're asking for a password. So it has Oak Ridge High School right here, which means we subscribe to this. So we actually pay a lot of money each year so that you guys have access to different databases: science, literature, history, English. Opposing Viewpoints is another one. So what we want to provide you is an alternative to Google. These are sources that have been curated, meaning they've been put together for your use as high school students. So these, you're not going to find little kiddie websites, and you're not going to find college level websites. It's high school. It also includes a variety of content, which I'll show you in a minute. So you can just use this search bar. So I'm going to type in wildfires as my first example. So I know that for the degree 3, I know you're looking at different degrees for this project. So degree 3, one of the topics is Southern California fires. Well, I'm not going to type in fires, that's too broad. And I'm not going to type in Southern California fires because that's too specific. You sort of have to find a balance with your search terms. So wildfires seems to be a good one. And it gave me a lot of info, as you can see here. So this is what makes a database a database. It's got reference sources, which are encyclopedia articles, specific ones, Encyclopedia of Science. It's got images. It has news articles from different newspapers, videos, magazine articles. All of this is collected in this one spot. All of these blue links are about wildfires, but yet you can read a newspaper article, you can read an encyclopedia article. You choose. It's all in one spot for you. It's all educational, and it's quality information. So you don't have to worry about a blog post or someone editing a Wikipedia article. You're not going to find blogs or Wikipedia articles here. So remember, when you don't just randomly click, start looking at the titles, also look at the dates, and remember your topic. So the topic is not only wildfires, but global warming and climate change. So right away I see this one, climate change impacts in North America. So let's check that one out. The nice thing about the database is it highlights specific terms. So I see a lot of things we would need for this project. I see greenhouse gases, global warming, ecosystems. So that could be good for the question of what else has been affected, maybe looking at ecosystems. Droughts definitely is related to this topic. And there's more, but so far so good, right? We're just doing a quick look to see if it's worth our time to keep on reading. So far so good. The other thing I like to do is see how meaty the article is, meaning is it just, sort of the basics, or is it going to give me that specific detail I need? Remember, on your rubric it says quality of information. You have to find supporting details and or examples. So let's look for that. My eyes sort of go to different groups and dates. So I see National Center for Atmospheric Research. I see NASA, United Nations, Center for Ocean Atmospheric Prediction Studies. So they're citing a lot of studies and groups in here. I see a lot of dates, a lot of data. Down here, down here there's a quote. So all good stuff that you can include in your PowerPoint. Now remember, you are paraphrasing, putting things in your own words, and then even once you do that, you need to cite the source. So remember, it's an MLA format, and I want to remind you guys, what we don't want to see is this. We don't want to just see the links. That's not MLA format. We want to see something like this. So with the title, or preferably the author's name if there is an author, the title of the source, the database, the date, all the information you need. Now, I understand it's hard to remember the order of where things go. Is it a period? Is it a comma? What's italicized? What isn't? So obviously there's tools for that, Citation Maker, EasyBib, and the databases, there is another tool right here. So a benefit of using the databases is you can click Citation Tools and you can get that MLA citation that's already been done for you. And you simply copy and paste this into Noodle Tools. Or sorry, if you're using Noodle Tools, but I think most of you guys will just be copying and pasting this into your actual slide that says bibliography or works cited. So I think that's all I wanted to show you for the databases. Let's check out Google next. Alright, so obviously Google will be useful for this project. I want you to try the databases and get some articles from there, but I know that Google's going to have a lot of recent information, and it's going to have information from specific groups that are in the science field. So you can use it, but you need to be smart about how to use it, because you know what happens. You type in a topic and you get a couple million results, and usually Wikipedia is the first one. You have to sort through. So let's use, from degree number 1, coral bleaching as an example. Now you can either just type in coral bleaching, or you can get a little more specific. It just depends what person you are. So, I know one of you in the group is looking at the basics of the situation. So yeah, looking at just typing in coral bleaching might be perfect for you. Now, what is coral bleaching? What you need to know. I just see a lot of good info to get you started. The rest of you might want to type in coral bleaching, let's see, changes maybe? Okay. So, how does climate change, affect things? Some good news. So maybe they're talking about recent changes. You also are looking at effects. So, that will give us different articles. The impact. Here's more about the impact. And then, of course, another thing to try, prevention. All the different topics you guys are looking at. Now, the next thing is looking at the source. So I see a lot of different kinds of sources. Let's start from the beginning. So, first one is nature.org. If you're not familiar with it, Google it. I know that it's an organization that looks at conservation and different, areas of land, in this case maybe the ocean. They're about preserving areas. It's a nature conservancy. I'm not familiar with this one. blueoceans.com. Science Magazine, that's a good source, and it's also nice that it's pretty recent. With science, you want to find articles that are written in the last few years, so 16, 17, 18, 2016, 17, 18. Okay, next source, NOAA. This is a great source for looking at weather, and you can see it's also a .gov. This one's a .org related to Australia. So if you are looking at the Great Barrier Reef, that would be useful. I could go on. Well, here we go. WikiHow. This is an example of what not to look for. You don't need any how-to Cliff Note type websites. Stay away from those. BBC, that's a good news source. So please take the time to look at the, create a good search, look at the titles, and then look at the sources and the dates. That's what I would like you to start doing. Another thing, and I'm going to use a different example, another thing to do, if you're still wondering about the quality of your source and if it's going to answer your question, is looking for the expert source. So who is the author? Sometimes you won't find an author, so you need to be familiar with the publisher. So in this case, National Geographic's. We know, let me pause this. Hold on, I'll be right back. Alright, so I was just saying we know National Geographic's a good source. However, I don't like the ads. Usually ads are sort of a bad sign, but I guess they do have to make some money. But again, if we're still wondering, I don't know, it's got the ads, but I'm familiar with the source. What I was going to tell you is look for information about the author who actually wrote the article. So a lot of times you will see the author's name is a hyperlink. So let's read about this guy. So he covers the environment. So it's not like he's writing about history one day, science the next. He focuses on climate change and oceans. He's been with National Geographic and other news sources. Looks like he won a Pulitzer Prize. He's won awards. And he was a fellow at Harvard University. I think this person would be considered an expert source. So they won't all say what they studied or what school they went to, but usually when you read, about their biography, you get an idea if they're trustworthy or not. So please look for all those things when going online. One more tip in just a moment. Alright, so I'm back on Google, and I wanted to show you a way to sort of limit the results on Google. So let's look at oceanic acidity. Oops, I typed that wrong. So 540,000, 100,000 results. A trick is to go cite.gov or edu or org, and you get only, we did .gov, you get only .gov sources, and it brought the results down to 30,000. So that's just another little trick you can use if you're getting a lot of results and you don't know what's trustworthy or not. So just wanted to throw that at you. But again, start with the databases and then move on to the web. I hope this was helpful. Please come see me in the library if you have any other questions.